what IoT means is that probably you are connecting each of those robots via sensors to the internet. What advantage you have of that is that you have a real-time analysis of all the stuff that the sensor is doing itself. So IoT, it depends on, so that's for manufacturing, for example. For healthcare, if you put a sensor on each of the patient beds, you put a sensor on any of the medical equipment you have, and then you can do, for example, predictive maintenance of those medical equipments. You can analyze where your patients are they moving around? So this is for the health and security of the hospital as well, right? So there are so many use cases, depends on the industry. Every solution is at a different stage of maturity. So there are different startups out there who are doing phenomenal work. And usually what we do in Cisco is that we either partner with them or get them to incorporate their stuff in our solutions, and then we go to market with that. In Singapore, so you might have heard of the whole Smart City, Smart Nation initiative, right? So there are a lot of things, like if you heard that A-Star has started putting sensors in public parks to analyze the number of people coming to the public park. So what they're doing is they're trying to analyze the demographics of the people coming to the park based on what the sensor can make out. So it's not intrusive as per se, it doesn't know your identity, it just knows your demographic. From inside of Cisco, we have teams that deal in regional languages. So when we hire in China, we have people who are able to speak both English and Mandarin, right? We hire in Indonesia, they have Bahasa Indonesia capabilities as well. So if you're able to study for the certifications, I would definitely recommend that you do CCNA and CCNP, right? Because that's the bread and butter of networking. There are very few industries and very few companies inside of ICT, right, information communications and technology, that even have graduate training programs. So I know like IBM has a graduate training program, probably Google has one, Cisco has one. But Cisco is the only company that invests almost 2 years in you, which means that your learning and development, your certifications, your training programs, opportunities to travel and learn from different regions, opportunities to travel and present in different regions, all these things start in the CSAP program itself. So it's not that your career only starts after you finish the program. All those activities are part of your learning and development as how Cisco sees it. So your career starts the day you join Cisco. The first round is where you submit a video. My year, it was how would you describe SDN to a layman? So how would you define a separation of a data plane and control plane? Second level was a phone interview for about an hour with the hiring manager, right? But this year we did it different. We had half an hour behavioral interview where he asked questions about your past, your experience, what are the different projects you've worked on, what are the different skill sets that you bring to the table. And the second half of the interview was like a programmability test. So we gave you some few codes to write and we saw what was your logic, what were the data structures you used, how were you able to speak through your code, how were you able to step through and probably make changes along the way and do troubleshooting in real time, right? So that was the second round. Third round is called the assessment center. That's an all-day event that starts with a written exam. Then you have a presentation to give. You have a role play where you have a systems engineer who's in the field right now. You'll have a manager and you'll probably have a third person who's just an observer who would be asking you questions as though they were the customer and you were pitching a solution to them. So you have to go through each level. Each level shortlists more and more and more. Usually every hub, so if it's Sydney, Korea, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, each of these regions hire only one. And so the 8 of us that you saw over here, we were all from different regions, but we came to Singapore for 1 year to train together.